AI is the cheapest way to grow a business right now, and it gives you the most amount of leverage. And the business owners who figure out this in the next 12 months are actually going to leave everyone else behind. And most people are still using it like a search bar when it should be running your sales and running your business and running your offers and at least like half of your operations. So by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to flip that on its head, and you'll understand exactly how the top 1% of business owners are using AI to print money while everyone else is using it to fix their grammar. So look, I've spent the last 4 or 5 years now in the AI trenches. I've tested thousands of prompts across every major platform. I've built some tools for my own companies. I've helped other business owners turn AI into their most profitable team members. And I'm just going to show you everything here. So we've got a lot to cover. First, how AI actually works. And this might sound a little goofy, but you got to realize that AI already now has all the world's information. Everything, the videos, podcasts, documents, Reddit threads, books, every blog post ever written. So AI just took all of that and did this big mathematical wizardry, and it broke everything down into tokens. And now it just tries to predict what's the next most logical next token, right? Based on what you gave it, what all of these guys gave it. And that's it. Like, that's the whole magic. It's like if I said, twinkle, twinkle, little, your brain is going to say star, right? And I know I'm a beautiful singer, by the way. AI is basically doing the same thing. It's just at a global scale. And so that's why most AI outputs are full of M dashes. It's not because AI loves M dashes, it's because human beings love them and they wrote them and all of their stuff, and now AI is just copying what's been put out there for so many millions of years or whatever, right? So here's why this matters for you. If you just give it really good information up front, the output is going to be really good because it has more context to work with. Think of it like this. Like if you're telling a friend your whole story before you ask them a question, they're much more likely to give you a good answer, like a useful answer, right? So the truth is AI isn't magic, it's just pattern recognition. And it might have like a fancy techno suit on or whatever, but it's just pattern recognition. So if you understand that, we can talk about how to use it the right way. So fundamental number 1 is what we like to call prompt construction. So notice I didn't say prompt writing, I said construction. So again, I know I say this a lot, but people still use AI and they treat it like Google. Like they just type in a question and they hit enter and they hope for the best. So sometimes you get lucky, but 99% of the times you don't. I use this as a format. So every single time I break it into 4 parts. Hey, what's your role? What's your context? What do I want you to do? And then what's the output? Like what's the format I want you to give it to me in? So first you have this role. You got to tell it who to be. So it's like acting. If it is a predictor, you want it to predict like someone or something would, right? So as an example, you wouldn't ask a random stranger on the street, hey, would you write my sales letter for me? But most people are using ChatGPT that way, right? So you want to tell it, like, I want you to act like a world-class marketing strategist that focuses on conversion for X business, right? Whatever your business is. So now it shouldn't be pulling from everything that's ever been written because it has more context. It's pulling from the best of that specific lane. Second, context. And you got to give it everything. You got to give it your offer and your customer and your past emails. What's your brand voice? You want to make sure it knows that. Transcripts from some of your sales calls or presentations, like whatever you have. The more that you feed it, the sharper the output is going to be. Third, now you got the command or like what you want it to do, and you gotta be specific. The reason people are horrible bosses is because they can never really specifically say, here's the outcome that I want, but you're gonna have to learn how to get good at this. So if you're gonna be the boss of your GPT, of your AI, Claude, Gemini, whatever, you gotta be specific. So you gotta make the implicit explicit. So you don't just say, help me with emails. You say something like, I want you to write 5 follow-up emails specifically for cold leads who did not open the first 3 emails. And I want you to make sure you use our brand voice that I just gave you in this document above. Fourth, the format. And this is the one that most people skip for whatever reason. And they get frustrated with like just a wall of text, right? So do you want a table? Do you want a bullet list? Do you want a CSV? Do you want a PDF? You got to tell it, because if you don't, you are just going to get a big wall of text every time. And look, I'll go even nerdier here for a second. I'll literally give it a template and say, just like match this format. Don't deviate from this. And that way I get what I want. Let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was working with this business owner. He had built a really cool little AI tool and he was struggling with his marketing. And like 3 weeks are going back and forth on his website copy. 3 weeks, and it's like, I just sat down with him and I said, look, here's the format that I just taught you. And this is what I'm going to give you. And let's do it in ChatGPT. And like 12 seconds later, GPT spit out a complete website structure, the headline, the copy. And it took us like 15 minutes to copy and paste it onto his website. And within a week, he was actually making sales. So what did I do differently? I just treated the prompt like an engineering problem, not like a wish. I know that sounds kind of goofy, but the quality of your output will never exceed the quality of your input. Fundamental number 2 now, you got to pick one tool and master it. So you just got to stop tool hopping. I know everyone's here on YouTube, everyone's trying to find out what's the newest, latest, greatest, whatever. But the amount of people that come to me and say, I'm using ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and Grok and like 4 others, and I ask them, okay, cool, show me your prompts. And the prompts are like crayons, right? They're really simple. They haven't mastered any of them. So learning AI is like learning an instrument. So if you tried to learn a little piano, I don't know about you, a little guitar, a little drums, and you try to learn all those all at once, you'd probably be mediocre at every single one of them. But if you just picked one and tried to master it, the others become way easier because now you understand music theory, you understand rhythm, you understand structure. And this is the same thing with AI. You got to go deep before you go wide. So the people who keep switching tools, like that's not exploration. That's not like trying to master, that's procrastination. That's what that is. So here's a quick breakdown of which one to pick. If you do a lot of writing, creative work, deep thinking, code, Claude, that kind of beats everyone right now. That can change in 6 months, but today, like Claude's the deal, right? That's legit. If you do a lot of research, you need up-to-date information, or like you live inside of Google tools like Google Docs and Google Sheets and Google stuff, you can use Gemini. And Gemini is incredible for like, especially anything Google related, it's all connected, right? But then ChatGPT is the original, and it's got the most integrations, it's got the biggest ecosystem. It's a safe default for like 90% of business owners. And before you hammer me in the comments, like, yeah, I know there's Grok and DeepSeek and all the Chinese models and like 100 others on Hugging Face. Like, I get it. I live on that site, but if you're trying to actually just get good at AI for your business, pick one of these 3 and master it, and then just expand from there. Fundamental number 3, push versus pull prompting. And this is where we kind of level up. So most people use AI the hard way, and they do 80% of the work, and then they let AI finish like the last 20%. Like, that's push prompting. So you're telling AI exactly how to do the task, and you want to flip that. You want to go from push to pull, and the difference is huge. Push is like the old way that you used to like get directions from your friend. Like, come over, turn left at the church, go down 2 blocks, you'll see a red mailbox, turn right. Like, you're doing all the navigating. Pull is just GPS. You just tell it the destination, like, this is the thing I want, and it figures out how to get there, figures out the route. So here's how do you do that. Step 1, you got to give it the role and the context, like we've already talked about, right? Step 2, you got to tell it the outcome that you want, and you got to be specific. Like, I need 5 email sequences that convert cold leads into booked calls. Step 3, and this is where the magic is, right? Say, ask me all the questions you need to create this for me, then give it back to me in the format that I specified. Now when you hit enter, it'll come back with like 7 or 10 or 15 different questions. And again, please don't type the answers. Hit the voice mode again because it's so much faster, and just talk through them. And it's faster and it's easier, and you can be like, like, you don't have to be succinct. You can just kind of ramble, and then you let AI do its thing. And if the output isn't sharp enough, just say, hey, refine this. Ask me more questions to make it more specific. It'll keep pulling from you until you have something that you actually want to use. And this is that reiteration. If you just keep doing this, you get better and better and better outputs. And again, most people just do it one time and they just, oh, that's the final answer, and they wonder why it sucked. So this is how the smartest business owners are doing this right now. They're not just telling AI what to do, they're letting AI extract what they need from them so they can do their work better. Fundamental number 4, you got to master prompts for every role in your life. And this is where most people never get to. Like, a master prompt is basically a manual about one part of your life. So imagine there was a manual called like you, the CEO, like, you know, Steve CEO, whatever. What would be in it if it was just your CEO, your business, your team, your customers, your offer, your numbers, your goals? Or like, imagine it was like you, the parent, like gross kids, right? But if you are a parent, you should have your kids, and what are their ages and what are their interests, and like, what's the stuff you're working on as a family. And when you have these master prompts, like, every AI conversation gets 10 times sharper because it actually knows who you are. So right now, if you don't have one, ChatGPT is giving you this generic autocomplete. Like I said, it memorized all the tokens, and it's just trying to predict what it thinks you want to hear next. So that's what that autocompletion is, or autocorrect is. So it's not a personalized strategy until it has the context. Every team member in every business I've ever worked with has some kind of master prompt now. Like, this wasn't the truth worth a couple years ago, but now it is. And I'm like, hey, show it to me. I have to make sure it's complete because I can't just imagine they're going to be efficient chatting with AI all the time if it doesn't know what they actually do. If you want to build one of these for yourself or your team members or whatever, again, just open ChatGPT, use the pull prompting, say, I want to create a master prompt for my role as the owner of my business. And I want you to ask me all the questions you need to build it. Now it'll come back with the questions and in voice mode again, please don't try to type it because no matter how fast you type, you're never going to be able to type it as fast as you can say it, and you don't have to be perfect, just blah. So talk through every one. When it spits out the draft, you want to read it and refine anything that it doesn't feel right? Just talk to it. Update this. You missed that thing. Make sure you reframe this section. So when you're happy with it, you want to save it as a PDF and you want to name it something like, here's my master prompt CEO. So whatever it is, keep it on your hard drive, keep it in your Dropbox or whatever it is. And now you can just drop it into any AI tool that you ever use. And if AI sounds like a stranger and the output sounds like it could have come from anyone, it's because you never introduced yourself like this. So the master prompt is how you would say hello, and that's it. Fundamental number 5 now is system prompts. And now we're getting into the part that separates like the top 1% from everybody else. A master prompt is who you are. A system prompt is what you want done, like on repeat. So you want to create kind of a manufacturing line, if you will. So think of this as a recipe. So you've got the ingredients, you've got the sequence, follow the recipe, and you should be able to get the same cake every single time. If you skip a step, you get mush, right? Most people don't realize this, but apps like Lovable and Perplexity and Notion and Cursor and Replit, these aren't magic. Under the hood, they're all running just basically long, structured system prompts that tell the AI exactly what to do. And you can do the same thing in your business. So here's how to build one. You start by saying, I'm an expert in AI engineering. I want you to help me create a system prompt that does X. So whatever your X is, like writing proposals for you or a lead qualification or like making onboarding emails or auditing sales calls, like use that pull style prompting again and just, hey, ask me all the questions. Do the voice mode, right? When it spits out the system prompt, copy it, paste it into a fresh chat and run it. And if the output is consistent, then you should be good, right? If something's off, you just say, hey, you got to refine this. The output should be more like X and less like Y. So you're literally coding with words. This is that dorky vibe coding phrase, right? And we're just doing it with words versus like actual code, right? We're kind of creating a system prompt. So once it's dialed in, you just drop it into your own custom GPT like we've done in the past, or like a Claude project or a Gemini Gem. Now you've built a little machine, and I use these for everything, like for my strategic work, for my research. Like I use it for tools my clients can use without ever like messing it up, right? I can give it the link and I can just say, hey, drop in this topic and let the system run. Now you've built a little machine, and like I use these for everything. I do it for strategic work and research and tools that my clients can use without messing it up. And I just give them the link to the custom GPT and I say, hey, drop in this topic and just let it run. So here's a pro tip. There was a leak a while back where all the system prompts from the top AI tools like Perplexity and Notion and Lovable and Cursor and 20 plus others, they were just like collected and somebody threw them on GitHub. And if you just search, like do a Google search or go on GitHub and search leaked system prompt on GitHub, you can go study how the best in the world structure these, and you'll actually learn more in an hour than you would in like a month of guessing. So you're not just using AI anymore, you're actually building little machines that actually work for you from the smartest people on the planet who are doing this stuff. Fundamental number 6, AI agents. And here's probably the most important shift that's happening in AI right now. Most people are still stuck using AI like a chatbot. You ask, it answers. You do the work. And that's like the slow way of doing it. An agent is a little bit different. An agent does the work for you. And so let me make this real. Let's say that you run a service business. A chatbot can like draft a reply to a customer inquiry, and that's it. You still have to click send on the email. You still have to log it into your CRM. You still have to schedule the phone call. You still have to like do all the work. But an agent should detect that email. It should check your database to see if they're returning a customer. It should draft the reply in your voice, and it should send it and log it and book the call, all while you're out at lunch. So the chatbot should give you advice. Yeah, cool, great. The agent gives you the actual action. And so this applies to your research too. So say you want to know what are the best 3 CRMs for a real estate team under 50 people. The old way, you would spend 3 hours opening tabs and going on Google and comparing pricing and reading reviews. Like the new way, you just give a research agent the task. And it pulls from multiple sources. It filters out the junk. It gives you a clean comparison in just like 10 minutes. So right now there's 2 ways to use agents. You got pre-built ones in tools like Perplexity or ChatGPT, like has an agent mode, a Claude projects, Gemini Deep Research. Like you just give it a goal and it runs the whole chain without any setup. but now there's custom ones and you can build them yourself, and you can use tools like Make or Zapier or N8N. And it sounds really technical, but a lot of people have already pre-built this stuff for you, so it's really not. And you can just describe what you want in plain English, and these tools can actually build it for you. And if you find yourself doing the same task like 3 or 4 times a day, you don't need a better prompt. You need an agent to do that for you. You got to automate that system. Fundamental number 7 now, you don't need to code anymore. And this one like blows my mind. I've never been a software person. I've never been a developer. And for decades, if you wanted to build software, like you needed to be a developer. You needed to hire one. And that all just kind of like collapsed because now we're in the era of AI assisted coding. And some people call it vibe coding, like I was joking about earlier. You can describe it what you want in plain English. AI can write the code. And let me give you an example. Imagine you want a simple tool that just creates an Excel sheet, spreadsheet, whatever, of leads. And you want it to score them by job title and company size. And you want to explore a clean list ranked by priority. So a year ago, you'd have to hire a developer and pay, a couple $1,000. Today, you just describe that to Replit or Lovable or even Manus, whatever it is. 15 minutes later, you got a working app. So there's a spectrum here, obviously. Like for quick prototypes, there's some cool things like Google AI Studio. That one's free. That can make like apps like right away. If you want like no code business tools, you got Replit or Lovable or Manus. You just like describe what you want and then you can do it, right? And you can share it with your team. But if you need something a little bit more serious, for my software friends, they like to use Cursor or like Anti-Gravity from Google. And these are like agent-first editors where you actually act as the architect and then AI handles the coding and the testing and the debugging. And so the barrier isn't your inability to code anymore. The only barrier is knowing clearly what you want, which brings us back way around to the foundation that we already covered. Prompt construction, like pull prompting, master prompts. The clearer you can describe what you want, the more powerful these tools actually become. And last one here, thank you for sticking with me, future-proofing yourself. You want to know how to use AI better than 99% of people out there, but here's the thing. AI is moving really fast. Every single day, something changes. And if you want to stay ahead, you have to make sure that AI never actually replaces you. So for that, you need 3 things. You need good taste, you need great vision, and you need care. Like you actually gotta care. So first, what do I mean by good taste? Like you gotta immerse yourself in excellence. So I think of it like standing under a waterfall of greatness. You want to let world-class work pour over you so some of it sticks. Look, if you're in marketing, you got to follow the best copywriters in the world. You got to subscribe to their newsletters. You got to study their funnels. If you're in design, you should fill your Instagram feed with the best designers. If you're in business, you should read what the best business owners are writing. Like the more you consume excellence, the more your taste can improve. And the taste is actually a thing that AI just can't replicate yet. So like AI can produce 1,000 emails, you have to be the one who knows which one's actually good and which one's not. Second, the vision. So you got to schedule some thinking time. And I'm serious, like you got to block it out in your calendar. Like I do this quite often where I just stare at the wall. I know that sounds so weird, but no phone, no distractions, no screens, like maybe just a notebook. I have a little notebook over here on the side of my desk, but your brain doesn't think in words most times. It usually thinks in pictures. And that's why if I say like, pink elephant right now, you don't see the words pink elephant, like you see an elephant. So you should like doodle and you should plan things out and you should whiteboard things. You should read books outside of your industry. You should walk around, go for a walk. You should daydream. And I know this sounds goofy, but this is how you build a vision for something that doesn't exist yet. And AI can only optimize what already exists. And only humans can imagine what doesn't exist. Third, you gotta care. And this is why I'm so bullish on AI doing the boring, dirty, repetitive work for us, because that frees you up to actually care about the people who are right in front of you. You gotta care about your customers. You gotta care about your team. You gotta care about your family. You gotta show up to the events. You gotta have the long conversations. You gotta send the handwritten cards. You gotta have empathy and you gotta have presence. And that's the thing that AI will probably never be able to fake. And it's the one thing that most business owners are losing as they try to automate everything. Do these 3 things. You gotta have good taste, you gotta have great vision, and you gotta care about people. And AI kind of becomes your weapon, but not your replacement. So look, you're still early to this thing. So do me a favor, if you don't mind, leave me a comment with what you're gonna commit to. And I wanna read them. I just wanna know where everyone's at, what's happening, and get some feedback here. And if you found this video helpful, I recorded another video just on how you can start an AI business. If you're just brand new, you're solo, you're by yourself, and you don't have any coding experience or whatever, but I showed you how to create an AI business just by yourself. So you can click somewhere here to watch that one.